So yeah, the season. This is the busy season right now. It starts pretty much at Christmas and it goes through the end of March.
Okay.
But this year's been slowing down. Things have been slowing down from the way things used to be. When we had the COVID economy thing going on,
Yeah.
everybody had a lot of cash and there was nowhere for them to go, so they came down to South Florida. So it was just a banner 2 years for everybody here. So, we're pulling back from that peak, but also it is just slower. It's just a lot slower than usual. So here on this boat, this is a new listing for this particular boat. I used to have a different boat that I did this on for like almost 4 years. So for the history of, and I've been doing various things on the water like this for 8 years. And so over that period of time, right now, actually, the beginning of January usually isn't very busy anyway, because I think people are finally done with Christmas vacation and they're trying to recover. But right now, I think I've only got maybe 2 to 4 people per day booked for the next week, and then I don't have anything else after that.
Okay.
But for this type of listing, for sure, it's very last minute. People are going to be looking for a place to stay, and as I get more reviews in, that will help boost my position on the search results. So I think it'll be pretty good. As we draw into the season, it'll pick up.
Yeah, I'm sure too. I'm kind of a last minute people. I'm always making reservation at the last minute.
Yeah,
so.
me too. I don't like to plan. I like spontaneity.
You never know if something comes up,
Yeah, absolutely. So what brought you to Key West?
Well, I needed vacation.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I moved from France to Canada last year, and we've been moving a lot around, and it's getting pretty cold.
Yes.
We're in Quebec right now, so
oh yeah.
I needed to take a few days.
Yeah.
So I decided that Florida might be a good thing,
Right on.
and I really wanted to go to the Keys.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's nowhere else that's going to have better weather in the United States anyway.
yeah, today was amazing.
Yeah.
I walked
Right up
around.
until the wind kicked in. Then
Yeah.
it kind of, but it was nice to get the nice weather for a little bit of time at least. A lot of the time it's like this in the wintertime, about 15-mile-an-hour winds.
I was watching the sunset when the wind started. Yeah, a lot. So
It was a pretty sunset tonight.
yeah.
I have this big, it's a barge with like a little house thing on it that I can store all my materials and tools in.
Okay.
And I was towing it because I don't keep it here when the customers are here because it's ugly. So I just towed it over there, and when I turned around and came back, I seen the bottom of the sun under the clouds, and it was all red, that deep red color. I was like, wow, it's so beautiful.
You must have the most amazing sunrises and sunsets here. It's really pretty.
Yep. So how do you pronounce your name? I couldn't figure it out.
In French, it's Anthéa, but in English, it's mostly Anthéa.
Anthéa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but even I sometimes people pronounce it many other ways. So
Is it a common name in France?
No.
No.
It's Greek.
Oh.
But
Okay.
I don't have any Greek origins. Just name my mom loved, so
Okay.
she decided to give it to me. But
Yeah.
it's not common.
Right on. So what have you been able to do so far in the Keys?
Oh, I took the bus from Miami at 4 a.m.
Oh, today?
Yeah, today.
Oh, geez, you must be tired.
Yeah, a little, but that's okay. I'm really happy to be here, so it keeps me going.
Yeah.
But I arrived at 8 and just walked around, put my luggage somewhere because it was really heavy.
Yeah.
And I just visited the city, took a lot of pictures. It was really nice. And I didn't expect it to be this beautiful. It's
Really?
Yeah, it's a great surprise.
Wow.
I had no idea how it
Good.
was.
Well, it's good surprises are always welcome, right?
It's, so I went to the beaches a little, so it was great. But I didn't go into the water.
Yeah, it's a little bit chilly for the water for the water right now. Will you go back to Miami tomorrow? Is that your plan?
Tomorrow evening. Yeah, I have a friend who's waiting for me.
Yeah. Will you stay in Miami at that point?
For I think 4 days. After I need to go back.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
it's a short vacation, but still.
Do you have a job there that you have vacation from right now?
I'm self-employed, so.
So you take work with you.
Yeah.
There are no vacations.
It was time, mostly. Sometimes when that's like that, you never take vacations, or you bring work with you. So. Anyway, this time I decided I deserved 5-6 full days.
Yes. Yeah.
And, after that, I go back to the Great North and the -15.
Yeah.
Bad.
Not good.
Yeah.
Good. So what kind of work do you do for your self-employed work?
I'm an editor.
Oh, okay.
I work for French publishing houses, so
Cool.
like the end of the year usually really busy, and I only started to slow down a little. So
Good.
I'm enjoying because I think it will start again pretty soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It never stops. So friends, they publish so many books.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to enjoy the calm while it lasts.
I was actually thinking about it today, laughing to myself that so many of the people from France that inquire for the boat, they say the same thing. They always say, "Hi, my name is so and so. I'm French," and then they say whatever the thing is. It's like completely unrelated to whatever it is that they just kind of throw it in there. And no one else does it. I've never seen any
really?
other country do that. It's only the people from France.
Maybe that's like they teach us that in school, you know,
Do
like
they?
how to present yourself, like your name, your nationality, your
Really?
age.
That's what they teach you?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that
You're
makes
from
sense.
which city? That's like I think everyone remembers that, and when yeah.
That makes a lot of sense now, because I was like, why are these people saying this? We never say that. I've never heard anybody say that.
Sometimes I think it's like, you know, just to excuse ourselves for our bad English, because a lot of French have bad English.
Yeah. I actually, the French that I've met, they've all done really well.
Great.
I've seen far worse people with their English. I mean, like the poor people who come from China, they struggle a lot. You know, their language is so different.
Yeah, sure.
But
yeah, well, in Miami, even here, there are a lot of people speaking Spanish, and I took Spanish classes in school, but I don't remember. I can understand it, but I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
And when I speak Spanish, I'm always like,
yeah.
English,
I had to
please.
take it too. I took like half a year of Spanish and half a year of French, and I remembered. I mean, I didn't really remember much of anything useful, but one night, I was taking somebody for a ride to their boat, and they didn't speak any English. It was just Spanish, and then I had to collect the money from them. It was $30, and I was like racking my brain trying to remember how to communicate this, and I reached way back into the deep recesses, and I was like, Treinta dinero.
yeah.
But that's what it takes, you know. You got to really immerse yourself and find situations where you can't back your way out of. Like I've tried to learn other languages just by myself, and I just can't do it. I mean, I can do it to a point, but then I lose it after. If I don't use it for a couple months, it's gone.
Yeah, well, I lived in Toronto for 5 months when I arrived to Canada, and then we moved to Quebec, and everyone speaks French. And then I got back to Toronto like maybe for a week, and I lost everything. Or well, it came back quickly, but I was like, my God, I don't know how to speak English. But yeah.
What made you go to Quebec?
Well, Toronto is a pretty expensive city, and where my boyfriend didn't find any jobs there, so we needed to try another city or come back to France. So we decided to try Quebec, and we had some friends there, so it was easier, you know, to settle.
Sure.
But we're moving again in April. We're going to Calgary because we want to.
That's a busy city.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, we want to spend the summer in the Rockies and do all the lakes and see all
that's beautiful out there.
all the places, and maybe after British Columbia, but I don't know because it's also pretty expensive. So we see from there. But
All right.
yeah, like to visit the country and go to the US, visit the US a little
Yeah.
too when we have time.
Yeah. That's cool.
And are you from here? Are you from Florida?
No, I moved here in 2000, the end of 2015 from Pennsylvania. So
Okay.
I'm just across the lake there from Toronto.
Okay.
But I've lived all over the country, East Coast, West Coast, North, South, all over the place. But most of my time was spent in Pennsylvania. And this is probably my favorite place that I've lived. Although
Yeah.
I'm sick of it now because it's so small. Like it's just,
Yeah.
it doesn't take long to get used to your surroundings, and I need diversity.
Mhm.
I need change, and I'm just not getting it. But I mean, I'm making changes within my life. Like this boat is relatively new. It's 2 years new to me, but that's also a long time for me.
Yeah.
Like, right about that 2 year mark, I need a major change in my life. And hopefully it's not a change because of a catastrophe. That I've had plenty of those too. And I don't like those changes.
Yeah.
But they still usher change one way or another, I suppose.
What have you planned for the boat when you finish it?
I'm really not sure. This section here, well, the plan is for the busy season to just work the boat. Like I've got it to a position that it's comfortable enough. I mean, it's kind of ugly, but I feel like for the price point and
yeah.
the minimal intrusion of the construction appearance, I think it's a fair balance. It's okay. And not that, I mean, it'll get done. It's just, in order to get it done, for me, I need to be able to commit myself to that for like 5 days. To have my barge, pull my barge over here, leave it here, and not have to be taking it back and forth, and then cleaning up for customers and all of that stuff. Like be able to just make a big mess, have tools everywhere,
Yeah.
go to bed and wake up in the morning and start again. Because it's going to take that. It's going to take that to get this part done. So this will probably get me. It'll probably take me a month to finish this section.
Okay.
And then beneath here is the master cabin, and that needs everything. Like I've got to rip the floor, all of the floor out,
Okay.
and completely redo the floor. All of the walls need to be done. Everything needs to be done. I actually tore out this section of the floor too. It was just a big, huge hole that went down to the first lower level there, and I reframed all of that. And the trouble with that room right there is there's so many pieces. Like you have to build the bed, you have to build the headboard. There's like a
Yeah.
jacuzzi tub that has to go in, cabinetry all over the place, corners, changes, bathroom. So that's probably going to take me 2 or 3 months to do that. Yeah. And then there's this roof up here. Like I was saying, it's soft. All the termites ate the wood out of it. And this part here, the termites didn't get to this, but the water did. And so it's starting to get soft, and the fiberglass is peeling apart from the layers. So really, the whole thing needs to be tore off and redone. But I really, really don't want to do that because it's such an enormous and expensive job. And I've already put so much money into the boat as it is. And I still have yet probably another 100,000 to put into it, not including this. And at some point, it would have been cheaper for me just to buy a finished boat. I mean, I didn't have the money all at once, so that was my problem, and I can't finance it because you can't insure it. And if I could insure it, I couldn't afford to insure it. So it's just sort of, this is how I ended up here, right? But getting this section here done and this master bedroom down here done, those are my 2 priorities right now. And it's probably going to be, I don't know. I would say this part would definitely be done this spring. The downstairs part, because that's the other thing. The summertime, it gets really hot, and then I lose ambition. I usually am like, it's just too hot. I don't even want to do anything, and I just sit here and I look at the water and I relax. But maybe I'll have more ambition this year. The nice thing is that the days are longer, and that's usually for me when the sun sets. I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I could turn the lights on, but I'm tired. I want to go to
Yeah,
bed anyway.
you can
so
see anything. So
it's a natural, yeah, it's a natural stopping point. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not stressing on it though. There's other things I want to do, like this experience here. I'm sorry you don't get to have the other guests here because it's a
That's
lot of fun when
okay.
you get to have all these different people
Yeah.
sharing stories and insight. And I want to be able to take that concept of strangers getting together and sharing and around the fire or around a meal or whatever, and just carry that around in a travel blog or a
Yeah.
travel podcast or something traveling, because I want
Yeah.
to travel anyway. And that I think is a great way to do it.
It's a great project.
One of the ways, or one of the things that got me thinking about it was the pandemic. In the U.S., we didn't really hear a lot about how people in all the other countries were handling, which is an interesting thing. We all dealt with this. Like, that's unprecedented. I don't know a time that the entire globe all faced the same issue together. It's always like just political stuff here. We all faced it. And I was talking with some people from Austria a few nights ago, and they told me that they had the hard lockdown right at first, and they just had to stay home. They couldn't go to work, and the government didn't give them any money.
Yeah.
They just told them to stay home.
Oh my God, they didn't give any
I
money.
was like, how do you not get any money? How did you pay your bills?
Yeah.
They didn't give them any money. So, what was it like for you during that time?
Well, I was still studying, so everything, like all the classes, I was doing an internship at the time, so it got stopped too. Like, it was supposed to be like walking away from home, but there was nothing to do. So I was in Paris at the time, and I ended up in a small apartment with my roommate and her boyfriend.
Oh boy.
So, well, it was nice because I wasn't alone.
Sure.
I lived alone for 3 years before in a tiny apartment, and I was glad to have a bigger place and people to talk to. But yeah, it was really hard because it lasted maybe 2 months, 3 months, I don't remember. So we ended up like watching series, playing cards.
Yeah.
But yeah, we couldn't move away more than 1 kilometer
Wow.
around. So it was complicated. And we didn't, like, we had this amazing weather, which is kind of rare for Paris at the time. And we didn't have any outdoors. So we stayed inside looking at the sun.
With a big frown.
Yeah. It's really, I think there was never a spring that good before.
Yeah.
So we were kind of disgusted.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first one, like everything was stopped and everyone was so shocked, Like we took it more like a vacation, and since we were actually paid, it helped. But I think we had a second lockdown at the end of the year 2020.
Really?
During from I think October to December, something like that.
Wow. There's another lockdown.
Yeah, full lockdown, and it was really hard. And at the time, I didn't want to be in the apartment with my roommate and my boyfriend again. So I had my boyfriend too, and we went to my mom's, and she lives in the south of France. So she had a big house and a big garden, and it was easier.
Yeah, that sounds really nice, actually.
Yeah, we could go out and play with the dogs, and so it was nice. But it was also harder because we worked at the time, and the classes were away. So like I got only maybe 1 month with my classmates and my professors before the lockdown, so I didn't know anyone. It was really hard. We walked a lot, and when you're always with the same persons in a small space, sometimes it it's difficult. But yeah,
Was there a lot of people that you've heard about dying in France from the COVID?
yeah.
How many do you know?
I don't remember. We followed, but I don't have the number.
Was there anybody you knew?
Not in my family, but my boyfriend lost both his grandparents
Wow.
COVID. So yeah.
Hmm.
But around, I know people who are still struggling with the rest of COVID. For us, we got it only like in 2022.
Mhm.
So like it was life has started again, and it was not that strong. But my mom, she's sick, and we tried to protect her as much as possible because we didn't want her to get sick from COVID.
Yes, yes.
So it was like not going out, trying to do the groceries with masks, the gloves, everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a strange, and I think I think the year after was even harder because we had like this curfew. I don't know if you had one too.
I don't remember having a curfew.
Yeah, well, everyone had to be home at 6 p.m.
Wow.
So, but everyone went to work. So you finish the work like at 5:30, and you don't have time to get your groceries. It was like, I think it was the worst because I remember one time going to the supermarket to get some things last minute, and the guy at the entry said, "No, we're closing in 15 minutes, so you can't get anything." And I just I worked all day, and I just wanted to get some things to eat, and I couldn't. And
Wow.
it lasted like, I think, 3 months again, so it was really long. But at the time we moved to our own apartment, so it was better.
Huh.
So yeah, we had a lot of things. I think if they tried to do that again, they would be like facing a riot.
Yeah, people would not tolerate it
Yeah,
the same
no.
way. No. Yeah, I mean, I guess in fairness, we didn't know. Nobody knew how bad the thing was going to be, and you got to be cautious at first. But it seems like at so many different points in the decision-making process, it just was badly done.
Yeah.
The whole thing was just badly done. Here, we have one road that comes through the Keys. US 1 is the name of the road. And they shut down the road
Oh my
up at the
God, really?
mainland. They put in a roadblock, and they would only let people in who lived in the Keys. And that made the people who work here and rely on tourism pretty pissed off.
Yeah.
Because now it was a death sentence for their businesses. So they got together. There was a lot of fighting about it. The city said, I don't remember what the city's position was, but ultimately the governor of Florida had to come in and say, you're not allowed to do this.
Yeah.
So knock it off. And they opened the road back up. And when they did that, all the people from Miami who were just stir crazy, they wanted to get out. They came rushing down here. And that's why it was such a crazy, busy season for us. All those people wanted to be here.
Yeah, because a lot of them have their own vacation homes here.
Well, what are you going to do in a big city? That's the worst. Being able to come down here, at least it's more rural, a little bit anyway.
Can enjoy the sea.
Yeah. But Florida got a lot of new citizens move here during the pandemic because it stayed open for business. And so all these other states were locked down hard, strong rules for masks. They weren't letting kids go to school. Florida says, let's do it. And it worked. People still died. That's the thing that gets me. It's like it didn't seem to make that much of a difference in the numbers. I didn't go back and actually review the numbers, but I guess I look at it in situations like that. I look at it from my own, like what I can see around me. How does that look? And I only know, I think, 2 people that died during the pandemic because of COVID. like actually because of COVID, and they both had underlying health issues, which, I mean, I guess whether or not a person has underlying health issues, it's still a lost life, right? And that's important that we protect that life. But where do you draw the line? Like, at what cost?
Yeah.
And that's a hard decision to make, you know, and that's part of the problem I have with the type of government that we have is why it just seems unfair even to the people in power that we would put that burden of decision making on their shoulders alone. Because when they screw it up, it's their fault. You know, I feel like at some point we have to say this is too big of a decision for any one or small group of people to make, and we have to collectively put a vote in. Like, what do we want to do? Which is basically what we did at the state level. You know, people in the state, like Florida. I mean, people in Florida raised their voice and they said, we want to open up, we want to stay open. And that's what happened.
That's the difference, having states.
I mean, it's basically countries.
Yeah.
It should be just called countries and treated as such. And then the federal government should just be like the EU in Europe, you know, just holds it all together.
In France, like, everyone was pissed, but they are always pissed at the government. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So they had to comply at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of, like, my boyfriend worked in a bookshop, and it closed maybe 1 year after the pandemic. It just killed a lot of places, a lot of shops, and yeah, it's still having consequences now.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty lucky all in all because I was in the right place at the right time and I got the right funding that I needed. And I have these tiki houseboats. You'll see those in the morning over here. And those things were booked solid. Like, I had just, as the pandemic began, I had just built the first one maybe 9 months earlier, so it was still new. And it was booked solid once it hit. And then I got loan money, and I used the loan money to build a second one and put it in the water the Christmas, you know, that first Christmas that during the pandemic. And then they were both busy solid for a year. Like, there was almost no empty days. And then I used the profits from that to buy this boat and work on this because I knew that that wasn't going to last forever, you know, and I need to diversify into from an expensive experience to an affordable experience because things are going to slow down. Like, all that money that they pumped into the economy is going to have a consequence.
It's the same for us.
Yeah. So, I mean, people are still going to want to travel. They're just going to need to do it on a budget.
Yeah. Yeah, we, like, in Canada, for, like, a lot of French people want to move to Canada. Like, it's getting really big. And
because of the government?
Yeah, because I think, like, Canada's the dream country, mostly because Quebec and people who talk French, because
it's a little France.
Yeah, that's, well, it's not the same when you're there, but a lot of French people think that, and well, it changed in Canada. Like, it started to change last year. You can find jobs as easily as before. It's getting really expensive. Like, Toronto is crazy.
Yeah.
And even Montreal and Quebec are starting to, you know, the prices to get a place, like, it's crazy. And a lot of French people who moved to Canada, like, yeah, we thought it would be easier, you know, cheaper, and a lot of them are going back to France.
Wow.
Because, you know, inflation's everywhere, and they, like, sometimes some of them had a better situation in France, so they come back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's...
Do you feel like the people who live in Quebec are nicer or less nice than the people in France?
Way nicer.
Nicer?
Really, yeah.
Really?
They're really amazing. In France, well, depending on where you live, people can be horrible.
Really?
In Paris, really, like, the true Parisians, they are, yeah. But
Well, France is on my list of places to go visit. I was thinking
Yeah.
about going there this May, in
Yeah.
May, to go check it out.
Where would you like to go?
I was going to ask you, where should I go? Where's a good place?
Well, yeah, even if Parisians are the best, Paris is pretty amazing to visit. I lived there for 6 years, and really I didn't have the time to do everything. It's
Yeah.
magical, but it's getting really expensive, and there are the Olympic Games this year.
Oh,
So
no.
really, if you can avoid going to Paris this year, it's
Yeah.
because like the people are renting places. I never saw those prices before, and it's getting hard to find some place to live in Paris right now.
Wow.
But there are other places, like I'm from the south, from the French Riviera, and Nice is really great. It's beautiful, and you have Nice.
May is the nice time to go too, right? In the spring.
Yeah. The only thing is when you go to the French Riviera in May, you have the Festival de Cannes, so you have lots of people, a lot of tourism, but it's great because it starts the season, you know. And I lived in Cannes. I went to school in Cannes, so we saw that every year. It was nice, but it's getting well, around Cannes, it's getting booked pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But you have like amazing places. You have the Alps. Like if you like mountains, it's different.
I'd like to go skiing, but
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to go do any Alps stuff this year. That's probably a
Well, in
next
May
year.
it's pretty late, and they have less and less snow each year.
I heard that.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's starting to be a problem, a really big problem. But you have near the French Riviera, you have like a department which is called Le Var, and
Okay.
it's where my mom lives, and it's really beautiful because you have access to the sea very quickly, and you have the mountains just
Oh,
on the
yeah,
other
yeah,
side.
yeah.
You can do like it's less touristic.
I think that's what I would like to see is just like the smaller towns that
Yeah.
tourism isn't really going through.
Well, you have some great villages, like some it's mostly Provence, and after that you have the west coast, which is really nice. Bordeaux, everything around Bordeaux, it's pretty great, and it's you can go to the Pyrenees too. That really, other than Paris, there are amazing places, just not in the center of France because there are nothing. Like it's we call that the diagonale du vide. Like it's the place where it's only small villages with 200 people,
Wow.
and it just doesn't move. Like I don't know how people continue to live there.
Wow.
So the center of France not that great, but the Alps, everything like the west coast, is great. See? So yeah, the north is you have Brittany, which is really great too. If you like the sea and if you like, I think it's always it's always cold and rainy, but other than that you have amazing things to see.
Yeah. I don't know if I do like the sea. I like this sea, but it's warm.
Yeah, this one is warm.
It's
Yeah,
pretty.
in Brittany it's cold.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd like that.
Yeah. So no, if you like.
I do like
Once-
mountains. I like mountains.
Mountains,
And,
yeah. Well, I think for me the best place in France, Corsica.
oh yeah.
Corsica is amazing, and if you go in May, the touristic season doesn't start. It starts mostly in June, so you have really the most amazing places. You can, and there are still mountains, so you can do some treks, hikes. It's mostly I think for me it's the best place in France, but like people from Corsica aren't. Like they don't consider themselves really French, you know.
really?
They're different from French people.
Oh.
they like, well, they're always nice with tourists, but they don't like people going to their island and just settle there. So they're pretty, it's a pretty close community. But really, we went there in 2020 because during the summer, like between the two lockdowns, everything was open, you know. And so we went to Corsica and there was no one. Like it was pretty great because usually each year it's packed. And like the beaches were empty. So we went camping, we went doing a tour of Corsica and we went camping every night and yeah. And we met a guy who had this amazing boat too, and he took us there. So we had really great memories there. I like to go back.
That sounds like a good spot to add to the list.
Yeah, yeah. If you want, like, I think everything there is pretty great. You don't have any place that's well. So if you want to see the mountains and the sea, it's a good place to start.
I have to figure out my transportation.
Yeah. Well, you can. Yeah. There's like this ferry who goes from Nice, actually. So you can like arrive. I think usually the better thing is to arrive to Paris, you know, and to take maybe another plane to Nice, and from Nice to take the ferry because the ferry is really nice.
Yeah.
But there are airports on the island too, but they are less used.
Are there many trains?
In France, yeah.
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 Kind of like to go on a train, I think.
Oh yeah, Paris to Nice in train is pretty great because you have like when you're passing the center of France, it's really quick, but along the coast, like the trains can go that fast, so you can enjoy, you know, all the views.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 5-hour train ride.
The trains here are different.
Yeah.
They're expensive,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the views are not very good. The ones that I've been on have not been
Yeah.
very good.
Well, I took the train in Canada and I was disappointed because it's really, well, it's not that fast and it always has a lot of, like, it's always late.
Yes, yeah, lots of
time
stops
was-
and delays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in France we have, like, you can go everywhere taking the train and you can go everywhere in Europe taking the train too. That's one of the great things. Like, we have a different relation to distances, and when we arrived to Canada, we had to change completely our point of view, you know, because when I told my parents that there was like a 42-hour drive from Montreal to Vancouver, they was like, "Oh, really? I didn't know that was this big." But yeah.
Canada is very long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a train trip. That could be
Train
fun.
trip, yeah. And it's not that expensive. There are a lot of. If it's last minute, it may be expensive, but like maybe some weeks before, if you plan the thing, it's really cheap.
Yeah.
But sometimes there are a lot of, you know, prices dropping at the time. So depends. But during the summer, it's crazy. The spring is nice.
Yeah.
Did you travel a lot out of America?
Not outside the U.S. I've been to Bulgaria,
Okay.
because that's where my dad was from,
Okay.
and I have a half brother there, and he drove me around the country. We went and seen the Black Sea,
Okay.
and drove back to Sofia, and that was difficult because it was like the middle of winter, so
Oh yeah.
it wasn't nice at all. But it was interesting to see some stuff. I mean, I was pretty shocked at the what do you call that? It's like the personality of the people there. Like, a lot of the people, it seemed to me like they didn't have any purpose. Like, they were just existing,
Yeah.
like waiting for someone to tell them to do something, and just standing there. And I mentioned it to my dad, and he said, well, you know, this used to be a communist country, and that's basically what they did. They waited, and somebody told them what to do.
Yeah.
You know, like if they wanted to have a house, they didn't work hard to, you know, earn money and buy a house. They went to the government and asked for a house, and the government gave them a house, which is just all of that is such a strange concept to me. And I guess I like being challenged in that way in my worldview, because you get so used to your own world, and it's easy to forget that, or just completely overlook the fact that people do things different all
Yeah.
over the world.
Depending on where you're born, what
Yeah.
life you led. Yeah, sure.
So that's part of why I want to go start to do some traveling, is to get that
Mhm.
experience. I'd love to go spend like a year over in China and travel
really?
around China.
Yeah.
There's so much, and it's. I feel like a year is not even enough to be able to go see all the different lands, visit the different, you know, little subcultures that exist everywhere. It's a lot like the U.S. And that's, I guess, how I am trying to what's the word, transpose, I guess, maybe, my idea of what I know the United States to be, which is each state has its own little culture of people, and there's different foods and talents and things that they do. And I mean, I've spent my whole life here, you know, and I got to see so much of that, and to know that that's just one chunk of the earth.
Yeah.
And then you go start chunking it around. There's just the same thing all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, not to mention South America. I mean, I'd love to go see
Oh, yeah,
stuff
me
in South
too.
America, which is, again, one of those things, like, I got to learn some Spanish.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I need to.
there's like Portuguese, I guess. They speak some Portuguese down there. And who's the other language? I don't remember what the other language is down there. But it's another part of my shame of my culture, is that we don't learn other languages. Like, we just don't. I talk to anybody in Europe, they at least speak two. Whatever that second one is, who knows? But I guess, again, you know, the U.S. has tried to put that into the school system, but we don't. There's nobody to talk. Like, you go to Kansas, nobody. There's like this is the whitest America that there is. You know,
Yeah.
there's no cultural difference there.
You know, I think, for example, the Germans, they usually speak English very well,
Mm-hmm.
but in France, a lot of people only speak French. Like,
Yeah.
we have English at school, but it's not enough to just learn completely the language. And a lot of people, they can go to like maybe England to start speaking English. So they just, like, French people, they don't like speaking another language.
That's funny, because
Yeah.
when I was in French class in high school, they showed us this cartoon. Do you know the cartoon Peanuts? With
No.
Charlie Brown.
I don't know.
It's a pretty popular American cartoon,
Okay.
and it was about France. Like, Charlie Brown goes to France,
Okay.
and they have this French character, and so Charlie Brown is like trying to speak French, and he's screwing it up, and the lady's like, "It's okay, we speak English, and we like to speak English. Most of us speak English." And we're
well,
like, "Oh, okay, well, France speaks English. Guess not."
really, no. Like, maybe Paris, they're forced to, because tourism.
Yeah, big
In the
tourism.
south a little, but in any other places, they only speak French.
Only French.
And a lot of people, when they visit countries, they usually are going to places where they know people will speak French. For example, in Italy,
Mhm.
like, mostly Italians, they speak French better than they speak English. Same for maybe Portugal. Portugal, they speak
Really?
French a lot.
Oh.
We went to the Azores Islands last year, and they were all speaking French.
Oh.
Great.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I think, like, depends on the school system, but I always found that Germans, they had an amazing school system,
Yeah.
and they always knew how to speak two languages, maybe three,
Mm-hmm.
which is completely different to us. So I think we forced to learn. Like I I didn't finish high school speaking to speak English. I just started to learn it by reading or watching shows, and it's easy because you can find everything in English.
Mhm.
But for Spanish and Italian, because I like to learn Spanish and Italian, it's really not the same. So I never learned to. I like to. I need to train. It's one of my objectives this year.
I guess that is the thing. If I'm going to travel in France, I'm going to have to learn at least some basic
words,
French, which shouldn't be too hard. I
No,
say
that's
that, but
okay.
then I mean, like, it's been a long time since I was in high school, so I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes it comes back.
Yeah. Although I guess we're in a lucky time in civilization where we do have Google Translate.
Yeah,
That's pretty handy.
it helps a lot. Yeah, when we were visiting Italy, we ended up in a Airbnb, and like I think the people were so old, and they didn't speak a word of English, only Italian, and we didn't speak a word of Italian. So the only thing my boyfriend did was they had little dogs that were really cute. So he wrote on Google Translation, "I like your dogs. We have a dog too." He just showed them that, and they were, oh, that's so nice,
Yeah.
and that's the whole exchange we had. But they were great, but that's the only thing we said. So yeah, it was funny.
That's what I like about the other types of communication. Like language, obviously, is one, but there's also body language, the gestures, kindness, just displaying those things goes a long way, especially in the absence of another. And that's, I mean, I can't. Well, there have been a few people who've stayed on my boat that don't speak any English, but they always had somebody there with them who could.
Yeah.
So that's true. One family that had stayed was from China, and they had the daughter. The daughter spoke English. Her sister did not, and her mother and father didn't speak any either. So I hung out with her, and we talked, and but me and the dad, we managed to somehow communicate a little bit through her. And he offered me one of his cigarettes. So he brought these cigarettes with him from China. They were like these apple flavored special cigarettes that he really loved. It was like his last pack, and he offered me one. And I was like, oh, that's so nice, so generous, for this thing that's special to him. He's not going to get any more of these things for, weeks. And he's offered to share me one. And it's stuff like that. Well, I guess that does lean in on the love languages. You're familiar with the love languages?
No.
It's a concept of psychology that we feel love, or I'm sorry, we receive love and we give love in 5 specific ways. 5 categories. There is acts of service, where you perform tasks, and that is the way of potentially you showing that you love someone, or when someone does that for you, that really means something to you. There are gifts, which are pretty self-explanatory. Words of affirmation, so speaking kindly and giving compliments, things like that. Physical touch, and I always forget the last one. Affirmation, physical touch, gifts, quality time.
Okay.
So just spending time together.
I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, it's getting pretty popular now. But my wife, before we got divorced, but back then she read this book. I think that was the name of the book, The 5 Love Languages. And it really helped us out in our relationship to understand each other, because she was getting upset that I was not receiving what she was giving, because that wasn't my natural love language. Because the one that you speak is not even necessarily the one that you hear.
Yeah.
So for me, my biggest one is acts of service. So if she would do something for me, like mow the grass. There was times where I would come home from work and she mowed the grass for me, and I was like, wow, that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And in return, I do the same thing. If I give things or if I do something for somebody, that's me giving love. And so if it goes unappreciated, then I get bitter. But anyway, it's a good thing, and I think gifts. That's one of those ones that between me and her father, he gave me a gift of a cigarette. Which gifts are, I guess, that's a tough one for me. Sometimes I appreciate them, and sometimes they don't mean anything. It depends on the sacrifice involved,
Yeah.
Because money is cheap. Money is just money. But if it's something special, sentimental, that's important. You should look into that. Do a little deep dive into it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that like most. Sometimes I work on books, psychology books, esotericism too, and that's the kind of thing that could be. I'm pretty sure it's already been published in France. I need to look into that. I could work on something like that.
Yeah.
It's nice. I always learn things when I work on books.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really read. I think I have a problem maybe with like a slight dyslexia or something because I have to read the sentence really slowly. And then I got to read it again to make sure I read it right the first time. And so it could take me a long time to get through it. So it's either that speed or I read extremely fast. And I get most of it, but there's details that I miss along the way.
Yeah.
But there's no like in between. So the struggle with it just frustrates me. I mean, I love knowledge. It's just consuming it through that medium is difficult for me.
Yeah, there are a lot of other medias now. Like
Yes.
My favorite things to do is to read, obviously. But my boyfriend recently he bought a book, and he started reading it, and was like, I don't like it because he listens to podcasts, TV shows, and he listens at a speed. Podcasts, he put them at a speed like faster than usual, and he understands everything, even in English. Well, in my case, I can do that, and so he was getting frustrated with his book, so I bought the audio book.
Yes.
And so I think it's maybe his 8 hours of listening in 3 days, and he loves the book. Now he always listens to it when he's doing some things in the house, going to work.
Yes.
And he was really happy, and I think it's nice to have that now because a few years ago. And for example, like audiobooks are much more used here, but in France it's not really popular. It's starting to, but like French people are really attached to like the book in itself.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that he has that because I always see him listening to podcasts. I think like he knows so many things, that I don't, and I think that's really amazing.
Yeah.
And I usually don't think, when I have time, I don't think I'm going to put a podcast on.
Right, yeah.
So
for me, I can only I can only engage my brain in that type of focused listening if I'm doing something that doesn't require much thought.
Yeah.
Like today I was working on the flooring, like right underneath you is the lazarette, which is where my washer and dryer goes. And I'm replacing the floor, so I had to take specific measurements, and there was a lot of thinking involved.
Yeah.
And I was gonna listen to a podcast, and I was like, I can't focus on it. Like I got to do one or the other, so I just put the music on instead.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna do like painting or some just like when I'm cleaning up the boat, that's definitely when I'll put the podcast on. Or if I'm gonna go to the gym and exercise, podcast all the way.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to be able to do that.
It's an awesome time we live in. I mean, when I look back just 30 years ago was 1994. And that was, I guess you weren't around in 94.
No.
Yeah, I was pretty little. I was 10, actually. I wasn't even that little. But nobody had cell phones.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to me. That was, and you know, like I would just leave. I would leave my house and go play in the street, just wherever, just gone. My mom didn't know how to get in hold of me, so it's just this reliance on. I hope my son comes back today. You know, like,
But nothing happens.
yeah, and then after the sun starts to set, if I'm still not back, you know, she picks up the landline phone and calls the neighbor. Have you seen my son? And then the network starts to call everybody else.
Everyone's getting in touch.
Yes. Just wild how different our life is now. But I guess that's been happening for a long time now. If you think back to, I guess it was probably the 1800s, you know, when we started using the train. That was a big deal in this country. I think the railroad system in the United States developed quicker than the one in Europe because it was easier. Because we just had to car, you know, in the Midwest it was just like a straight line. There were no mountains and all this crazy stuff. It's just like just lay down the track and go. And so what used to be a treacherous wagon trip with like oxen, you just got into a train and boom, you're on the other side of the country. And that was cool. That really connected us together. But it didn't really make a big difference in day-to-day lives of people living. I think the biggest thing was probably, I don't know, it's hard to say because you know, you had the tractor. The tractor came in for automate, or you know, for all of the little farm tools that came around to make life so much quicker. Because everybody was a farmer, you know. There was just so many farmers. That was a huge industry. And then, of course, the car. But that took a while because a lot of people were like, I kind of wish that I could just go back in time in a bubble and watch how there was horses on the same street as cars. Like they were just, it was happening at the same time. And everybody was just okay with it. Just, this is normal life. I can't imagine you know, riding a horse in the street right now. Like nobody would be okay with that. Although in Pennsylvania, they do have the Amish there that still, they have horse and wagon and they'll ride them on the road. But I think the telephone was really the thing that
Internet too.
changed the world for people. And then of course right after that was the television.
Oh yeah, television changed a lot.
I mean, the radio was important too. But when people were able to hear and see, that was like...
Yeah, I remember now we don't watch the TV anymore.
Nope.
But when I was a kid, we would always watch it.
Yeah.
And it was because my mom, she has a thing for places deep in the middle of nowhere. Like we lived in the middle of a forest, and she would take in every animal she could save, like horses, goats. We have like, it was a little farm, but it was a place where we didn't have any reception at the time, which is now impossible because we didn't have any reception, and we got the internet really late. And I think when I was a kid, I never lived in a place where I could have a phone, the TV, and internet working at the same time. It happened when I moved to Paris when I was 18, but before that, my mom, she always, like when she moved and she had reception and internet, she would not have TV because like the antenna wouldn't work, something like that. And we had to make with that when everyone else had access to everything.
Yeah.
But the TV was nice when I was a kid. And now we don't watch, we watch Netflix when we want something. But
isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I remember when I lived out in the country in Pennsylvania, and we didn't have high-speed internet. We could dial in with the landline phone, which was so slow. It was only good enough to check your email. That was it. Like basic web pages, and even that was still slow. And we didn't have broadcast television. Well, I mean, we had it through the air, you know, the radio wave, but we didn't have cable or anything like that. I think it ended up taking 15 years before they finally brought a line up the road for us. And the cell service, that was the other thing. We didn't have cell service there. It was really spotty. There's just nobody out there. They didn't want to spend the money to put towers out there.
That's why. For us too, it was really in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes there was some accidents high on the roads, and they would like take the towers down. You know.
Oh yeah.
We wouldn't have any internet for like a few months.
Oh
because
wow.
by the time they came back, they changed everything.
Jeez.
Well, I remember one time when we didn't have any electricity, no internet, we didn't have any reception, and it was in the middle of winter, so
Wow.
it was snowing, so we just got in the bed. We had like candles everywhere, and we did nothing all day. Like we
Did you have a fire?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great because it could be really, really cold in the winter. Even in the south, it could be really cold in the winter. So
Yeah.
fun times. I didn't find that as much fun when I was a kid, but
Sure,
now
yeah.
it's fun.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I've become very comfortable with my technology life now. So now I've got the Starlink internet here on the boat. So I get to watch Netflix on the boat. I was so happy when that finally came through.
Yeah.
Reliable high-speed internet. Because the cell service here is good most of the time. But like if you go inside the boat, because of the fiberglass and the metal, you can get your signal messed up and it gets difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But I got that now, and I've got air conditioning. I've got all the amenities, you know, the creature comforts, you know, and but yet it's still out on the water. I'm disconnected from the rest of the world. And it's funny, you know, there's times where the power will go out in Key West, and like you see all the lights over there, and then they'll all just go black. But I still got all my stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, it's different when you live on a boat.
Yeah. It's also very expensive. It's an expensive lifestyle. People, they're shocked when they hear that you can anchor anywhere here for free. You don't pay a rent or anything. But that is the cheapest part of it. And then everything else is super expensive and a huge pain in the ass to get done.
Like you have to get the boat out of the sea once a year?
I'm trying to do it every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
By the time I get it pulled out in April, it's going to be I probably should have done it sooner. 1 year is too soon. 2 years is probably too late. But
and my dad has a little boat in Cannes, and he loves it. He bought it, and it renovated it, but it was working pretty great. And he had a lot of problems last year with it, like it wouldn't work. It stopped working in the middle of the sea.
oh yeah.
So I had to bring him back to shore, see what was wrong. I think like it's been 2 summers since he used it, and he's pretty disappointed because he got it 2 years ago, you know.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he had a lot of problems with this one, and sometimes he tells me how expensive it is, you know, to pay for everything, and it's small compared to this
boat.
one,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So I
Very
can only
expensive.
imagine.
Yeah. That's why I have to work on this myself. Is I either have the money to buy the things that I need for the boat, or I have the money to pay someone to do the work. But I don't have enough money for both things. And thankfully, I can do the work.
Yeah.
But it's just taking so long. So much work. And then there's the maintenance, like you said. You know, I do have to pull the boat back out of the water and repaint the bottom and do work here. That's going to be probably 2 or 3 weeks of work.
Oh yeah.
Just having the boat out. I hate that work so much. I'll probably pay somebody to do that. There's certain jobs I just don't want to do. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll pull the boat out of the water, pay someone to do the work, and I'll go to France.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And then I'll come back and the boat will be done. This is great. I'll come back with my little, what is that hat?
Berry.
The beanie, yeah. The baguettes and everything.
Yeah. Oh, you can bring back bread. I miss good bread.
So I had a guy stay last night. He he grew up in Spain and then he moved to the UK,
Okay.
and he is a diplomat for Spain.
Oh, wow.
And he was telling me that he makes his own bread because he can't find anybody who makes good bread. And he is serious about it too. He's explaining it to me, like the science of making a good bread and how to make the yeast instead of buying the yeast. You just make your own.
Yeah, I don't have the patience to do bread, but if I could, I would do it.
Yes.
But I know some people, some French people who move to Canada and who do their own bread and who have like other, some little biscuits or some things like that. And so I took all the names, and sometimes when I miss some things, I just order, and it's made like the French way. Love it. But yeah,
I was glad to hear that a person who knows bread very well said that the United States has terrible bread. Like there's just no good bread here, because I always thought that too, but I wasn't sure. I had no frame of reference. I didn't want to assume that there was something better out there, but.
Yeah, I think I never tried to buy bread in the US, but we buy some in Canada, and it's not the same at all.
Yeah. This is probably what's going to happen. I'm going to start traveling, and I'll fall in love with the food, and then I'll find a way to move to the food.
Yeah, Italy maybe I think is the best place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Greece with a friend of mine a few years ago, and they had pretty good food. We were in Athens, and ate at a few of the local restaurants there pretty regularly, and I noticed that I could eat a lot more than what I can here. It's like the food here is heavy or something. I don't know what the difference is, but I ate more there. I just felt better eating the food that was there. I don't know what that's all about.
We had to adapt to when we moved to Canada. Because when you arrive in a completely another country, you don't recognize anything. When the first time I went into the supermarket, I was like, okay, I don't know what to buy. So I think I spent maybe 1 hour and a half, like touring the supermarket and watching like, everything and trying to find a few things. And I think for the first few weeks, I've only started with pasta or easy things.
Yeah.
I could find everywhere. No, it's better. Now I started cooking again.
Yeah.
But we had to get used to the products and find some way to find familiar things. And now it's way better.
Yeah.
But when you go, even for us when we were like vacationing in Italy, like the food was amazing. We would eat all day. Well, when you live in a country, sometimes you don't go as much to restaurants, so you kind of forget how good the food is. Right. But when I come back to France, I will definitely enjoy it more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. When we came back to the U.S. from Greece, I didn't look forward to it. I was like, oh, we got to eat this again? Great.
You're trying to find great Greek places owned by Greek people.
Yes.
To do their food.
That's right. There's a good spot here. It's called the Kennedy Cafe, which is, it's not a great sounding name, but their food is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, for Key West, we only have a few. Actually, that might be the only Greek restaurant we have here. I don't think there's another one. Miami's got so many good stuff. Oh, that was a shooting star. Just seen a shooting star.
Oh, really?
But yeah, Miami's got some pretty good Greek restaurants. They just have good everything. There's so much stuff there.
Yeah, I will try. My friend wants to go out like every night, so we will go out every night and try a lot of things. She's from Colombia, so I think she will take me to the, Latino places. So I can't wait. It's going to be great.
I thought about opening up my own floating restaurant here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. But if I'm going to do that, that's going to be sort of like my retirement business. That once this boat is all done, I don't have to worry about this anymore. And I can have it open when I feel like having it open.
Yeah.
I guess there has to be enough reliable service
Mhm.
keep it open. But basically, probably just just have it sitting here somewhere right around here. We'll just sit there in a chair and just relax.
Yeah.
And wait for a customer and be like, hey, and I'll fire up the grill and do a little cooking or whatever. I think it'd be interesting. It's definitely it would be more of a hobby, I think, than a profiting business. Because the restaurant business is hard as it is. It's expensive, and your profits are limited by how many customers you can put through. And if your customers are limited to the ones that have boats that can get to you, you really shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
But
And it must be expensive to get all the products to here.
yeah, it's
If
a lot of work. I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was ordering supplies for this boat, and it's not, this is still fairly new. I've only been hosting for about a week now, a little more than a week. So I'm still ordering stuff. Like I have blankets coming in because I didn't really think about the blanket thing. I mean, normally we don't use blankets, but there gets to be maybe a couple of weeks out of the year that people want blankets. I don't like the idea of blankets because now that's more stuff I've got to wash.
Yeah.
Blankets are hard to wash. But there's like the little coffee pods for coffee.
Yeah.
I got to order those, get the creamers, the sugars, the sugar cups, all this different stuff. Laundry soap, washer machine, all this stuff. And I realized this is a job for a purchasing agent. Like I need somebody just in charge of buying stuff for the boat, receiving it. Like today I opened up one of my boxes and the item was broken, so now I got to do a return. Well, I got to get back to shore. I got to go to the UPS store, send it back to Amazon. It's a lot of work just handling materials. And then I forget what I have. Like today I was going inside my barge over here and I had to pull everything out of it and reorder it. And I'm pulling stuff out and I'm like, oh, I forgot I had these. Oh, I forgot I had these. Now I have 3 of these because I forgot I had them and now I bought more, So I forget a lot of the stuff that I have, and it's just disorganized, but I just don't have time. There's just not enough time in the day to be good at all of these things.
And how many times do you go to shore?
I try to go as little as possible.
Yeah.
Like this time, I haven't been to shore in probably, I think this is the 3rd day. I was gonna go today, but I wanted to use the nice weather to work on that floor down there because I needed to pull the barge around. And I probably won't be able to do that again for the rest of the week because the weather's supposed to pick up. But I'll go in tomorrow, I think. Maybe. I need to get the washer machine. I don't want to keep going to the laundromat. I hate the laundromat.
Yeah.
I hate it. I went, there's this one laundromat over by the Kennedy Cafe. That's the one I always go to because they have a really big washer for affordable price. It's been broken for I don't know how many years, but I still go there. Well, all the washers were full, and I had to get the laundry done right now. So I had to go to this other laundromat down the road, and I walk in, and there's a baby diaper upside down on the ground, and somebody had stepped on it and slid it. So there's just this streak of shit on the ground. And I look over here, and there's a chicken inside, just like hanging out in the corner. Like I don't know if it was laying an egg or what. It was just like squat down in the corner. Which is kind of funny. That's true. I mean, it's just more of a Key West thing. We have chickens all over the place.
I saw.
But I was like, God, why is this my life? Like, I need to get this washer installed.
Oh, yeah.
God. So yeah, maybe I'll try to do that tomorrow. But usually, I'll make sure I have enough food here for 3, 4, 5 days. And the only reason I would have to go in is to buy more equipment, supplies, and at this point, laundry. But when it was just me on the boat by myself, I mean, I have enough clothing and bedding and stuff here. I could go a couple of weeks without having to go in. And obviously, the less you go in, the less money you spend.
Sure.
But it's also just a hassle. It's just a hassle. I hate it.
Because like you take your I don't know what to call it.
That is called a tender.
Okay.
There's a dinghy, which is smaller than that.
Okay.
I don't have a dinghy. and then that's a bigger one, so that's called a tender. And it actually goes on the roof here. I have a crane to pick it up, and it sticks it on the roof.
Okay, so you take it to go to shore.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then I have on my barge, I have a bigger boat, like the shuttle boat you came in. It's the same kind of boat as that. And then I use that when I have to go pick up plywood, and like I'll use that to go get the washer machine, that kind of stuff. It's like my truck. It's the truck on the water. This is my car.
Yeah. You understand everything's expensive.
Yeah. And but this is a good way to live the life, sharing it out with other people. Paying a little bit of money to share it out. And in the end, if I'm busy, it's a good night. Like it can't yet, but it will eventually be able to have 12 people on board.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's $1,000 a night, that's a good night.
Yeah.
Because the boat doesn't go anywhere. It stays here. If I had to drive this boat, it would not be a good night because it's so expensive. It's like $25 a mile to drive this boat.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really expensive. But for it to just float here, that's all right.
Yeah, because like for now, how many people can you host?
Right now, it's only eight. In this main cabin. It's 8, but in the very front of the boat, there's 2 more cabins.
Okay.
They're just not ready yet, and that'll be able to have 4 more people. Okay. Right now, I'm staying in the forward cabin because, like I said, this one back here is. I didn't even start that yet. It's going to be a long time. So.
Okay.
Yeah, 12 people.
12 people is great.
And there's enough space. Well, you've seen how much space. There's a lot of space. So
sure.
you can still break up into smaller groups. You have 4 out here and 4 upstairs and 4 in the front. And that's plenty. I mean, that's very comfortable.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this boat. It's so spacious.
Yeah.
So much going on.
It's a small house. Like,
it is.
Even a big house.
Well, even, when I measured the square footage, including the top deck, it has more square footage than the house I was renting in Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
It's like, it's over 1,000 square feet.
Oh, really?
This boat. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's big.
It's a lot of space. And that's what I like about it. Like, I like living on the water, but when I first came here, I had a small boat. It was only like a 32-foot boat. And I rented it. I rented out the front half of the boat, and I stayed in the back half. And it was just too small. I had like my clothes were on my feet when I slept because there was nowhere to put the clothes. And eventually I put everything in my car. I bought a second boat to live on myself, and then I rented that boat out entirely. But even a 32-foot boat just for one person, you gotta live a very minimal life. You don't have very much room for stuff.
Yeah.
And then I got a bigger boat. Before this one, the other boat that I have, what position are we in? Okay, so the island is there. So right over here in the morning, you'll see there's a big sailboat that's on its side like this. That's my old sailboat.
Okay.
So this is Andromeda. That was the original Andromeda.
Okay.
Sailing vessel Andromeda. I ended up selling it because it was just too much work. And then the guy I sold it to, he just didn't take care of it. And a hurricane came and it broke off of its anchor, and it ended up being driven aground. So eventually the state is going to come and clean it up. But that's the boat that I had at the time. And then I eventually lived on that. And when I lived on that, there was a lot of space, but I couldn't use it because it was in such bad shape that every time it would rain, like water would leak in on the ceiling. There was just water everywhere. This one leaks too. I've got to fix that, but not nearly as bad as that one does. Or did, I should say. But I liked how much space I had, And so to be able to have this boat, it's exactly what I wanted. It's exactly what I wanted. I just wish it was in a little better shape. But if it was in better shape, I wouldn't have got it. Somebody else would have got it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. So what is your dream? What is your hope and dream for your life?
Oh, I don't know really. For sure, I don't want to, get a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
So I've only started traveling, and I love it really. And even if we don't plan to stay in Canada, because I don't think that's the right country for us. We will go back to France for a time, but we will travel again, like maybe backpack around Asia and
Oh yeah, that'd be so nice.
or South America. I would love to, and I was considering going to Australia for a year too, but I don't know yet. The thing is, I'm really close to my family, so it's hard to be that far away from them,
Yeah.
even if they are really understanding. So I don't know. Maybe one day I will come back. I think I will always come back to where my mom is, but I want to travel as much as I can while I can.
Definitely.
And I have, I'm lucky to have the job I have that I can do everywhere. So for the time being, I keep doing that. But maybe one day I will want to have a real career in publishing. So I know it depends. Like that's mine. After that, I have to take my boyfriend's feeling considerations too.
Does he like to travel also?
Yeah, he does. When I decided to go, because when I decided to go to Canada, I did the thing all alone, and I was.
Did you tell him?
Yeah, not
You
at
just
the
left?
beginning. Yeah, I just did all the things, first for the papers,
Yeah.
and for us to go for 2 years, it's like a lottery. So.
Oh, okay. Is that
uh,
lottery for Canada or for France?
For Canada.
Canada.
And so I got the place, and it was like, well, no, I have to find a way to go to Canada too.
Right.
So he did the same thing, and he got his place too. So it's visas that last for 2 years, and after that you can do like all the papers to stay there, but it's complicated. Depends on the provinces. So that's too much administrative work, and then it requires some work for a long period, usually 12 months in the same place. So, and we don't want that. We want to move around, do some jobs here and there. So we will come back, but yeah, I was ready to live without my boyfriend and my dog, because we have our dog, and I was ready to live here, them both in France, but I'm really glad they came with me.
Yeah.
And I would like to travel more, because my parents don't travel at all. My mom, she's afraid to take the plane, and my dad is he's born in Cannes, lived in Cannes, baby died in Cannes, so he doesn't want to leave. And I don't know, traveling to search what we love about ourselves and what we like to do. But I think in the end, I would like maybe work for the environment. And I have a friend, our friend in Corsica, who got us on his boat. He's building one right now, and he wants to sensibilize people to marine animals and helping science. So I don't know where he wants to go, but I told him when we had it on the phone last week, I told him that if he wanted to get help, I was ready to go with him.
Yeah.
And so I talked to my mom about that. She's afraid of boats. She's afraid of the water. She's afraid of a lot of things.
It sounds that
And
way.
she was like, "Oh my God, really? You would live on the water? It's dangerous." And I said, "Well, I don't want to be unhappy in a place where it's safe."
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we will do that. I would like to live on the sea for maybe not always, but I would like to live on the sea full time.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe in a few years. But in the end, I'd like to, have my place. I have a house somewhere to go to. And if I go where I rent it, my parents are usually they buy just like 4 walls, a roof, and they
Mhm.
do everything inside.
Yeah.
And the same for us. I think I will do that to renovate. It's nice. So,
Where would you buy? Where would you get a place at?
depending in the south mostly because I think about renting it and it rents well, even just for the summer, it's enough.
Mm-hmm.
But not in big cities. It's complicated and
Yeah.
it's really expensive now. So maybe like a Provence house that I can rent with a garden. So yeah, we'll see. My boyfriend, I know, is still searching what he wants to do in life. So he's trying a few jobs here and there. Like right now, he's a musher in the north, in Quebec. So he works with the dogs and tourists. He likes it, but I won't. Maybe he will change. If we go to Alberta, I think he will try again in tourism. So maybe we can find something to do around that, moving around. But yeah, for now it's great. Like our paths are aligned for now,
Yeah.
and we see.
Yeah.
We'll see in the future. It's hard knowing what we will do when the world is changing so fast.
Yes.
So yeah.
True. Yeah, I try not to think too much about what it is I want to do. I instead understand myself and what it is I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I'm aware of that, the opportunities will come, right?
Yeah.
And then at that point, I can look at the opportunity and say, I'm not going to like this. I don't want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then other ones will pop up and I'll be like, that's the
Yeah.
one. I'm going to go do this. Because like if somebody would have asked me 10 years ago where I expect to be in 10 years, I would not have ever thought this. I didn't
Yeah.
even know this existed. So
Yeah.
there's no way, like, you can plan. You can plan, like, if you have one set thing for sure you want to do, yes. But if you're trying to, like, if you're not really sure, then don't.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point in planning?
Yeah. Well, things come in life, and you have like to take the opportunities when they
Yeah.
come, and
Yep.
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, when I was even like, to be honest, when I was 16, I never even planned to move to Paris for my studies,
Mhm.
and now like I think my family is amazed that I moved to Canada because I'm the only one in the family, and I was like I was really shy when I was a kid. Like it was horrible, and they didn't expect me to move far away from home, I think.
Wow.
So like my grandparents last week they said they were really surprised and happy for me, but they didn't expect that from me. I was like, yeah, me neither. It's a surprise. So yeah, I just like it's my second solo travel.
Mhm.
The first one was to go to Toronto, and my boyfriend would join me later.
Mhm.
So it's a big thing for me moving alone.
Do you know the word wanderlust?
Yeah.
Do you know that there's a gene in your DNA that
Oh,
they've
really?
identified that is responsible for causing wanderlust?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it makes sense that within the species, a certain percentage of the population needs to want to branch out and leave the security of the colony to expand it.
Yeah.
And so you're motivated to just go and do it regardless of the risks, because it hits whatever, if it's dopamine in your brain, I'm not sure exactly what it does, but you are literally programmed to want to travel and go
Yeah.
see stuff. I've definitely got it. I can't be happy in one place. I've got to be able to travel and see new things and start over even. Like that's fun for me, going and building a new house. It's almost like, have you played Minecraft?
Oh yeah, I know. I never played, but I
about
know.
it? Yeah. So like that's in the real world version of Minecraft, to be able to start a new world and you got to go build a new house out of nothing. It's just a new game, and then you build it up and you do your thing and you're like, well, now I'm just gonna tear it all down and start over
like,
again.
that's what my mom does. Like she moves every 1 to 2 years, and she buys like these houses. Like no, they're in better shape now because when she was with my dad will do most of the renovation. But no, she knows how to do a lot of stuff herself, but it's some things that she doesn't do, like plumbing or electricity. She usually hires someone, and she had this great house, like the one she had before this now, and I loved it, you know. And she said, "But I'm getting bored because I don't have anything left to do." She redid everything, so she sold it and she bought another one, bigger, and there is a lot of work to do. So for now, like she got it in October, and she did her bathroom already. She finished her kitchen like last week, and she's always like, "Oh, see, I did that." And since she's sick, I think she stopped working like 15 years ago, and you know she did that to I think avoid boardroom. But no, she never stays in one place. Like she doesn't move far away. Like the new house is maybe 1 kilometer away from the last one.
Okay.
Because she loves the place where she lives, but she just changes house.
Wow.
And I think in the family, nobody understands. Why do you always move? But I think they don't understand the fact that she doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
And that if she just stays on watching the days pass, she's going to be depressed.
Oh, absolutely.
So
yeah.
she loves doing that, and I understand better now. So sometimes I tell her that she gave me like that thing about moving. So, but I moved to the other end of the world, so it was the largest scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she's amazing.
I thought about doing that same thing, just buying a house, living in it, fixing it up, selling it, go buy another house, and just keep doing that, keep going. But I instead went the stupidest way that I could, and I bought this boat that I can't possibly sell for as much money as I put into it. Houses are good because the prices always go up. They go up, up, up.
Yeah.
Boats are not like that, not at all, especially not ones like this. But I guess this is different because I have a vision for how to use the boat. It's not supposed to be an investment for flipping it, you know. But
that's the thing with houses. Usually, the people do that, and like for my mom, it's our only way to gain money.
Yes.
So every 1 year to 2 years, but a boat is different. Like I think my dad say that when you buy one new, it loses most of its value in the first few years.
The house or the
boats?
The boats. Oh my goodness. Yeah, like the first day. Like as soon as you sign the check, you just lost value on your boat. You'll never sell it for more than what you bought it for. There's just no way. No different than a car. But that's the thing. It's you can't look at it as an investment. You have to look at it as either a business asset or entertainment value, one or the other. You know, you pay for entertainment. You don't expect to get the money back out of entertainment. You go to the movies, you pay the movie ticket, you watch the movie, that's it. There's no money coming back to you. So this is another version of that.
And do you go swimming around a lot? Yeah.
Well, not so much. I haven't really been swimming a lot since before the pandemic, because once that happened, my life changed quite a bit, and I didn't spend much time on the water. I didn't even have a boat for a while. For about a year, I didn't have a boat, and then I got this boat, and then it was just like work. No time for fun, no time for play. But I'm hoping that this summer will be different. But who knows?
I hope for you.
I keep telling myself that I'm gonna die soon. Like that's just a reality. There's only so many years in anyone's life, you know, and we don't know how many we get. And I won't be thinking about, like when I'm on my deathbed, I won't be thinking about the work that I didn't finish.
Yeah.
I'll be thinking about the things that I didn't experience.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
I think I've reached a point on working on this boat that I am not satisfied, but I'm willing to slow down for a while because it's working. I've got it to the point that it's working, but I don't want to wait too long and then lose my drive to finish. I've got to finish. I've got to finish at least this salon. Which, again, you know, a month of work. It's already been 20. One more isn't going to kill me. And then summertime, though, is when I love to get in the water. So right now, I would say between like the middle of October to the middle of April, I don't want to get in the water. It's just too cold for me.
Yeah.
But by the time May hits, the water's comfortable. And then in the summer, it's really nice. Like I would be in the water right now if it was summertime. It's just so nice. Do you do swimming?
I love swimming, but usually I always swim, but in pools, not really in the sea. And in France, like the Mediterranean is really dirty.
Oh,
You know,
really?
yeah.
Oh.
So I don't go swimming there. And after living in Paris, I was so far away from the sea. I miss it. And right now in Quebec, that's the thing that I miss the most.
Yeah.
Like when I was in Toronto, there was the Ontario Lake, and it's nice having this much. Well, I don't swim in it, but it's nice to have this large body of
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I miss right now. I think like maybe if I settle somewhere, it will be near the sea.
Yeah.
But like in another way, I don't swim that much.
Yeah.
Just I need to be close to it.
I think that's the same for me too. Here I like it because again, I like tropical waters. I do not want to go swimming in the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, the North Atlantic. I don't want to go swimming in the Pacific. The Pacific is too murky for my liking, and then when it's not murky, it's too cold. But the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, I guess this is still the Atlantic here, but
Yeah.
it's getting close to the Caribbean Sea.
Yeah.
That's nice. But definitely having a body of water there, something about it.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's like a fire. Like it's entrancing. It's special. It's always moving and changing. And
Yeah, well, it's funny because like I slept most of the bus ride to Key West, and then when we arrived, like I opened my eyes, and the first thing I saw was the sea. There was like it was like coming home, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, and I would like I know maybe if I haven't chosen Florida, I would have gone to somewhere with the sea close. Like I have a thing with islands. I love islands, and I love volcanoes. So usually volcanic islands are the best for me to visit. And yeah, that's. But I think that's because I was born near the sea, and I was always used to go. Like when I finished high school, or when I had like big breaks, we would go swimming. Like we had 3 hours to kill, and that was that. And after we came back and finished our classes of the day, it was great. And I didn't know how lucky I was until I moved to Paris, and I didn't have that anymore. So yeah, it's important. And you feel it when you don't live near the sea.
Yes, it's true. It's true. The ocean, the mountains, the desert. Those are the three things for me that I really like.
Yeah, the deserts. I don't know about the desert. I never been.
There's different types of desert, you know. Like I don't necessarily like just a flat, barren desert. It has to still have some features to it, some canyons or something to look at. You know, if you ever get the opportunity to go out to Arizona, it is so beautiful out there, so beautiful. Not every part of it, but like there's this one chunk of it that there's a place called Monument Valley.
Yeah, well, my boyfriend wants to go there. We want to do that.
It's so beautiful.
Next year.
It's so beautiful, and you go out there at night, it's just black, and you can see all the stars.
Yeah,
it's so beautiful.
Yeah, we plan to do that, to rent a van and do all the West Coast and do all the parks. I would love to. And
then there's another place. It's the Petrified Forest, and there's an area there called the Painted Canyon,
Yeah.
Painted Desert, and that looks really, really amazing. The different colors in the rock sliding down and everything.
Yeah. That's definitely on the to-do list.
Yes.
Like
That's-
while we're in North America, we don't want to miss that.
Yes. That's an area that I toy with the idea of having a piece of property out there and
Mhm.
maybe having like a small trailer or something. Like I don't necessarily want to put a lot of money into that place because I don't want to live there because it's so remote. There's nothing there. It's depressing. Like it makes my heart feel like
Yeah.
stuck. But it is very nice to visit. Like if I had a little plane, which I'd like to maybe get my pilot's license and get like a small plane. I could just fly
Yeah.
into, you know.
Great. Can't wait to see it next year. We planned a few trips. So
Well, I think I'm gonna go to bed. I am super tired. I'm
Yeah?
having a hard time keeping my eyes open,
okay.
and I'm sure you're tired too.
Yeah, a little. I brought some snacks. I'm going to get some snacks and then go to bed too and wake up. Do you know when I'm just going to check when the sunrise is.
Yeah, I think it's around 7.
7?
I think so.
And I need to book the shuttle for the way back.
Oh yes, right.
Yeah, because I asked when she had people, so I
Mhm.
wouldn't be alone.
Yep.
And she said 11. Is it okay for you?
Yeah, that's the right time. That's
Mm.
the cheapest time for you to go too.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
so I think it's great 11. It gives time to enjoy the boat, to enjoy the
Yes.
day.
Yeah.
And after I have to. The only thing is about traveling alone and always moving is that I have my bag and it's really heavy.
Oh right.
And yeah, I found this little shop that keeps it for cheap price.
Is it Paradise Borders?
No, it's
No?
not. It's an application called Bounce, and like
Oh.
the thing is a little supermarket,
Oh.
and the guys were really really friendly. So I think I will do the same.
If you could
Today.
share that with me,
Yeah, sure.
I'll let the guests know because that's pretty frequent. My customers.
Oh,
they,
yeah.
They need somewhere to put their bags
Well,
for a while.
Yeah, sure. Well, I know the app is like worldwide because I used it when I was in Scotland.
It's called Bounce.
Bounce,
Hmm.
yeah.
Never heard of it.
And they can keep it all day or for a few days, and it's really cheap. Like I think I spent maybe.
So Bounce is the name of the
Bounce is the
the
name of the app.
that
Yeah.
holds the luggage.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just a search engine.
No,
okay.
it's
Okay.
and like I think a day is maybe $7, something like
Oh,
that.
yeah, that's
So
cheap.
it's really cheap.
It's really cheap. So is it like sort of like a what do you call that? Sharing economy where anybody could just become a host
Oh,
to
maybe.
hold your bags?
Yeah, maybe. I think so. Like it was always like in Scotland it was a gift shop, and
Yeah.
here it's like a grocery shop.
You just sign up and
Yeah.
hold people's bags for
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was surprised to
That's
find it here. It's really nice.
Yeah.
But I saw Porter Paradise, but I think they were a little higher up, so I just took the first one.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I worked. I think I worked for maybe 2 hours with my bag, and at the end I was like,
Yeah.
I need to leave it somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Well, thank you for the sharing and the
Yeah.
conversation. I appreciate it.
Same.